If you're new here, pause right here for a second. This video is part 2, and trust me, you'll understand everything way better after watching part 1 first. That first video lays the foundation, exposes the mistakes, and connects all the dots that lead to what we're about to cover now. So don't jump into the middle of the movie and wonder why the plot feels wild. Go watch part 1 first, then come back here immediately. Because this next level is where things start getting serious. Mistake 2. Underestimating total costs. The purchase price is just the beginning. There is land transfer tax, stamp duty, legal fees, renovation costs, ongoing maintenance, property management fees. Most first-time buyers budget for the purchase and then discover they have no money for anything else. Always add 15 to 20% on top of the purchase price for total acquisition costs. Budget for that before you start. Mistake 3. Skipping legal due diligence. In Tanzania, land ownership is complex. Title types vary. The difference between right of occupancy and customary land matters enormously. A property without clear title can be lost. Always engage a qualified conveyancer or lawyer before any purchase. Always verify title at the Ministry of Lands. A small legal fee now prevents a catastrophic loss later. Mistake 4. Buying in the wrong location for the wrong reasons. Buying land far outside a city because it is cheap, without asking why it is cheap, is the most common mistake in African real estate. Cheap land in an area with no infrastructure, no employment, no services, and no demand for rental earns you nothing. It just sits. Land that sits is not an asset. It is an illiquid expense. Buy where people actually want to live. Mistake 5. Being a passive landlord. The people who lose money on rental property are usually the ones who buy and then disappear. They trust tenants without agreements. They delay maintenance until it becomes catastrophic. They do not track income and expenses. Property is a business. Manage it like one. Review your numbers quarterly. Inspect the property annually. Know your tenants. Stay engaged. Here is the conversation that changes everything. Once you own one property, the path to 2, 3, and 5 becomes clearer. Not easy, clearer. Because the first property teaches you everything. The numbers, the tenant management, the legal process, the maintenance rhythm, and it builds equity. That becomes the deposit for the next one. The portfolio growth strategy works like this. You buy property 1, you rent it out. The rent covers the mortgage. Equity builds through both repayments and appreciation. After several years, you refinance. The bank values the property higher. You withdraw a portion of the equity as a new loan. That equity becomes the deposit for property 2. You repeat the cycle. This is called the BRRRR method. Buy, rent, refinance, repeat. The key discipline. Never use investment property equity for consumption. Not a car, not a holiday, not clothes. Every shilling of equity you pull out must go into the next income-producing asset. The wealthy understand this deeply. They do not spend their asset base. They reinvest it. Every refinance is not an ATM withdrawal. It is a redeployment of capital into the next engine. Property management at scale. Once you have 2 or more properties, consider a property management company. They handle tenant screening, maintenance calls, rent collection, legal issues. They charge a percentage of rent, typically 8 to 12%. But what they give back is your time. And time is the resource that scales your portfolio faster than anything else. This is the chapter nobody in your circle knows about, and it is the one that will matter most to you over the next decade. Tanzania's real estate market is in the early stages of a growth cycle that East Africa has seen before, in Kenya 20 years ago. And the people who understood that cycle early are wealthy today. Here is what you need to understand. Urbanization. Tanzania's urban population is growing faster than housing supply can keep pace. Dar es Salaam grows by hundreds of thousands of people every year. Each new arrival needs housing. The demand is structural, not speculative. This is not a bubble, it is demography. And demography is the most powerful investment driver in the world because it is predictable. Infrastructure investment is revaluing land corridors, the standard gauge railway, expressway developments, port expansion at Dar es Salaam, new business districts. Every major infrastructure project creates a value corridor. Land near planned infrastructure, bought before the announcement or early in construction, has produced extraordinary returns for those who understood what was coming. The affordable housing gap. Tanzania, like most of East Africa, has a massive shortage of quality affordable rental housing. Not luxury apartments, affordable middle-income rentals. The person who builds or buys quality affordable rental units in growing urban areas is not just making an investment. They are solving a real problem. And as we learned in Project 6, the most reliable income comes from solving real problems. Agricultural land investment. For longer horizon investors, agricultural land in Tanzania represents one of the most underpriced assets on the continent. Tanzania has more arable land per capita than almost any country in Africa. As food security becomes a global priority, and as Tanzanian agriculture modernizes, productive farmland is appreciating from a very low base. This is patient capital territory. But patient capital, in the right asset, builds generational wealth. Most people approach a bank for a mortgage and get rejected, or they get offered terms that make the numbers unworkable. Here is what most people do not know. Banks in Tanzania and East Africa have very different mortgage products available, and the terms vary enormously between institutions. CRDB, NMB, HBZ, Stanbic, each has different requirements, different rates, different qualifying criteria. The first bank you visit is not your only option. Shop them all. The National Housing Corporation and Tanzania Mortgage Refinance Company, TMRC, are two institutions specifically designed to expand mortgage access for Tanzanians. They work with local banks to provide lower-cost long-term financing for affordable housing. If your income is formal and documented, these channels may offer significantly better terms than a standard commercial mortgage. Research them. Use them. SACCO mortgages. In Tanzania and Kenya, savings and credit cooperatives offer competitive loan products for members who have saved consistently. The interest rates are often lower than commercial banks. The requirements are linked to your savings history, not just your salary. For the informal sector worker with no payslip, a SACCO mortgage may be the only viable pathway to property ownership. Use the system that was built for you. Let us bring this all together. Real estate is not for the rich. Real estate is how ordinary people become wealthy. 5 simultaneous mechanisms: appreciation, rental income, leverage, inflation protection, and equity building, all working at once. 5 pathways to your first property, even with almost no money. A rental income formula that makes the numbers clear. Mistakes to avoid. A portfolio strategy to scale. And an Africa opportunity that is right in front of you right now. If you watched Projects 5, 6, and 7, you now have the complete wealth building system. Investment mindset, side hustle income, African financial context, and now real estate. The compound effect of these 4 disciplines working together is the exact framework that has built more African wealth than any other combination. This is not 4 separate videos. It is one complete system. And you now have all 4 pieces. If this video gave you one idea that changes how you think about property, share it. With someone who thinks real estate is only for the wealthy. With someone who is renting and does not know there is another path. With someone building wealth but missing the property piece. The information exists. Most people never find it in time. You now know. Use it. Then pass it on. Subscribe to our channel, One Money Truth, every single day. The wealthy in Africa are not smarter than you. They simply knew things earlier. Now you know. Use it.